Okay, and the last part that I wanted to do before the conclusion was the filmography. Not the filmography, but the horror. So the horror in this movie was actually pretty decent. I thought that it was pretty scary at times. It was very much a it felt very much like a nature documentary in the way that the horror was. The horror wasn't very in Fallen Kingdom, and even in Jurassic World, it was a sense like the dinosaurs were monsters, right? Owen Grady even says this where he's like, that's no dinosaur out there. That, like, there's this whole thing where they're very much monster-esque. But in this movie, they felt very much like real animals, which was good. They felt like real animals trying to get things and trying to kill things, because they were animals. Like, the whole part where, honestly, kind of one of my favorite parts in horror wise is the part where the boyfriend goes to take a pee and the raptors are sneaking up behind him. You just see their silhouettes, you don't actually see them, and it's just like, that was really well done. And then the flying raptor comes out of nowhere and just fucking kills that one raptor, and the whole boyfriend character, he's just facing away from him like, oh shit, oh, don't move. And then the flying raptor kills the one raptor and then just fucking takes off with it, and he's just like, like, that was pretty well done in the way that felt like something that could actually happen in nature, where it's like something sneaking up on you, and it's basically the, from Star Wars, there's always a bigger fish principle, right? And I do really like that, because in nature, that is how things work. Like, it is kill or be killed. So that was really good. The Quetzalcoatlus being just a creature trying to protect its nest and everything like that and eating people, really good. The T-Rex, felt, that was the only one where I felt like it's kind of weird, because like the T-Rex already had food and it was napping and everything, but like, you know what, that's whatever, it's like, okay, whatever. It still felt like kind of a real animal in a way. It felt very real. And like, the biggest thing to me, the scariest part, was when Henry was near the sauropods, the titanosauruses, and I'm like, you're telling me, so it's so stupid, but like, you're telling me, so the Henry tells the girl, you shoot it, I'm gonna go distract them. And it's like, they're huge dinosaurs. Number one, big target. Number two, it's not like they're going to attack you. They're gonna run away if they get hurt. They're Vegisaurus, Lex, Vegisaurus. Like what the hell? And so he's like, I'm gonna go up to him. So he's walking up to the damn giant ass dinosaurs, petting them on the legs and shit. And this girl is supposed to shoot them with a dart. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm around animals that are very big, even horses that can't step on me but are very big, I do not want to be around them when they get hurt in any way, when they get freaked out. Like, I've seen videos of people who have been petting horses and like a horsefly bites a horse really bad, and it hurts the horse, so they freak out, and like the person's right there, so they get trampled. Like, and it's not the horse's fault and it's not the person's fault. It's their fault for being that close. Like, and that she's going to shoot the dinosaur. Like, I'm thinking, like, why would you do that? Why would you be right next to the animal's foot while she's going to shoot the creature? Why would you be right next to it like that? And he does eventually move, and the dinosaur moves so slowly. But, like, you don't know how fast they can move. Especially, again, like with horses. Horses are pretty gentle creatures, and when they're running, they're fast. But, like, usually they're just trotting big dogs, like horses are. Like, but if they get stung or they get hurt, they're going to move. They're going to fucking move. Like, you can't just assume that, oh, because it's so big, I have no possibility of being crushed. I was scared that the guy was going to get crushed. I thought he was going to become an ice cream sandwich, because it's like, you're standing right next to the foot when you know, and again, it doesn't even make sense. Distract them from what? They're big giant dinosaurs that are just kind of cuddling with each other or eating grass. You just shoot them and get the stuff. Like, and the only reason that this scene is in there is so that Henry could go up and touch one and be like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, that's the only reason. Be honest, that's the only reason. And like, wow. Like, I don't know. It was frustrating, that part, but it was also pretty scary. Like, it was like, okay, why would you be that close? And I did feel like my heart was actually ramping up in that scene when he did get closer to it, because again, the way the filmography was done, it was done really good. So when Henry's up close with it, all you're seeing is this upshot of the giant neck and the leg and everything, and it's like, it was really good. It was really well done. But the whole time, I'm thinking, like, if you get squished, I'm not gonna feel bad for you because you're sitting right there. Um, and like, I did cover some of the horror stuff with the dinosaur part. The horror with the mosasaur was really good. With it just being so huge and like a giant whale shark. The horror with the Quetzalcoatlus, and I did talk about this, but the horror with the Quetzalcoatlus being eating the human alive like an actual bird, that was really well done. There's just so much that was like, yes, yes, yes. Like, it was just really well done. So I was honestly pretty impressed with all that. That was really cool. Um, and like, uh, and the only one again that didn't really do anything for me was the D-Rex. There was a little bit of horror there with the first part, but again, it just fell off. Like I said with my dinosaur review part of it, and I did want to put this as a part, but it's kind of gonna be probably a short part. But because I kind of already talked about this, but like the D-Rex not having a bigger part to play in the movie, I just forgot that there was even a thing. Like, the first part with its breakout part where they're going, and we get that part from the trailer where there's the guy and he's like, open up the door, and you just see the giant claw come up and he gets snatched. Like, that was really good, but then by the end of the movie, I forgot that the D-Rex was even a thing. Again, there was no ramping up to how terrifying that was, so I thought that was just kind of like, I don't know. But then we have um the flying raptor part, which was like, that was okay. So much of it was kind of based off the original Jurassic Park and the kitchen scene with the kids, which is like okay, but like, I don't know. It was whatever. It didn't really scare me. But like, so much of the horror was basically just a lot of animal documentary stuff. That's what it felt like. It felt like people with the mosasaur scene. I actually felt like I was watching like some of the old clips of people doing whaling, more experienced whaling, which actually was really bad for the whales eventually. But like, where they did actually have these full giant boats that they would go and they'd use the harpoons and harpoon like several whales and stuff like that. That's kind of what I felt like it was almost doing, and that was really cool. It really felt like an actual, like, they had stakes in it where it was like, yeah, the whales, the mosasaurs like right next to them and they're trying to shoot it, like, really good stuff. Sorry. I apologize. But like, that was really good. I felt like that was done decent. But most of the horror was just kind of animal documentary stuff, which honestly, that's pretty cool. Like, it was strangely, I hate to even say this, but strangely original. It felt very original because it was like dinosaurs are actually in most dinosaur films, the dinosaurs are the kind of main threat, but like in this movie, it very much felt like you just don't want to get caught in that way, where it's like all dinosaur movies are like that, but like, I don't know how to explain it. It felt very just like an animal documentary, and that was really cool, kind of cool. The dinosaurs just felt like animals, so that was really cool. That was pretty fun. There's really not a whole lot to say that I kind of didn't say in the dinosaur chapter of it. There was no, and I should have brought this up in the world building thing, but there was no part where the world building really felt fleshed out in that way. I kind of expected almost like plants to be different and everything because the dinosaurs are eating and pooping and stuff, and like, I thought that would maybe change the environment a little bit more, but there wasn't any of that. The river raft scene was not near as terrifying as it was in the book, and I don't know if that's just because no one dies, but then no one dies in the book either. But it's just like it felt a lot less terrifying, but was still cool and a nice callback to those who've read the book. But like it was okay. It was, again, a lot of the horror comes from the sense of scale that you get from the dinosaurs, so that was really it did help things. Like I said, the T-Rex being very much the same T-Rex but from a different angle was really kind of nice, because it was like you've seen the T-Rex before but you've never seen her in this way, and like that felt actually pretty good. And it was very much like, yeah, I actually like that. I like that the dinosaurs were given a sense of scale that actually the scale helped the horror, and it was like it was really good. The horror was done decent. I'm trying to think of the D-Rex again. Just should have been the scariest one because it kind of had the scariest look to it. But there just wasn't enough build up for it to be very scary to me. It's like, yeah, it kind of looks scary, but again, the entire fact that it can only see if there's lights going off and shit also kind of just didn't help it, because it was like needless tension, like with the child where she was trying to open the gate and the D-Rex is standing right there and it doesn't kill her because she's not making any light or any noise, and then the millionaire guy comes out of nowhere and it just destroys him. So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it's just, the D-Rex was like honestly the least scary part for me. And like the only part that was really scary with the D-Rex to me was first the opening scene, and then where he does take down the helicopter was kind of cool, because you can't see it. Like, he's just like, oh, the helicopter. Henry the nerd guy's just like, oh, the helicopter, and then out of nowhere the D-Rex comes out of nowhere and the helicopter's just not there. It's just like boom, and then it's like it was pretty good. But like other than that, D-Rex wasn't really scary, and again, it was just anticlimactic, because it's like it'd be so much better if they knew that the D-Rex was out there. They're like, by the way, this huge morphed mutated dinosaur escaped on the island however many years ago, and we really need to watch out for that creature because it's, I don't know, it's smart. It's the D-Rex felt like I did like that it felt like just another animal, but it's like it also felt kind of, I don't know, dumb, where it was like it was like whenever it looked at something it was just like, huh? Oh, I'll go over here, I guess. That's what it felt like. It didn't feel like an animal that was trying to actually kill them so much as it felt like an animal that just had its home interrupted and it was kind of pissed off about it. Like, that's what it kind of felt like, and I don't really like that, because it's like, again, all you had to do was establish that the D-Rex was out there and was trying to kill people, and like that's all you had to do. But like, yeah, so the D-Rex, just not as scary as a lot of the other dinosaurs in my opinion, which kind of does suck because the D-Rex was kind of a big thing in that. But yeah, the D-Rex wasn't that scary. But the horror was done decent. I'd say it's a decent, like, scary film. Again, the dinosaurs don't really scare me so much as it does, like, make me go, oh, that's cool. Like, every time a scary thing happens in a dinosaur flick, I'm like, that's cool, rather than that's scary. Like, there's only one part that's actually kind of scary, is in the movie 65, where the dinosaurs are just like, there's a part in there where it's very good setup, where the dinosaur shoves his head into the cave, and the rain's falling, and you can't see anything. All you see is the water in the cave part, and then it's like, oh, there's something there. Like, and then the lightning flashes, and you see the dinosaur. Like, 65, I feel like, did actual dinosaur horror a little bit better. There's a little bit of claustrophobia in that movie too, which did help. You're trapped with dinosaurs under the earth. Like, it was pretty good. The horror in the movie 65, in terms of dinosaur horror, was actually really good. in Jurassic World itself was the one that honestly got me the best in terms of dinosaur horror. Putting aside the original series, I already talked about how the scene with the pterosaurs in Jurassic Park 3 was like so scary. That was great horror. And again, more animal stuff where it's like I could totally see a giant pterosaur landing on this bridge being like, what's making noise over here? And then he comes across this kid and he's like, shit, this looks tasty for my kids, and then takes off with him. Like, I can see that. In Jurassic World, it was very much, the horror was very much how smart the Indominus Rex was. And if you've done research on that movie and actually thought about it, she's really not that smart in a certain aspect of the way. At least she's not as smart as Owen Grady thinks she is. But, like, she is still very scary to me in a way. And it's just like, that movie did horror well. It set up horror well. And, like, I thought that was really good. Like, the Indominus Rex, the way it killed things, the way it was just like a killing machine. It was established as a killing machine, you know? And even though, again, a lot of what Owen said was basically like not true, the whole thing where he's like, she remember where they put it in. It's like, no, Claire established that the thing zaps her if she gets too close to events. Like a dinosaur, any animal would tear out something that was causing them pain. That's what they do. And him just being like, she doesn't even, she like, the biggest thing to me was like the part where Owen says like, she's learning where she fits in the food chain, and I'm not sure you want her to figure that out. That part was a really good part, one of the better parts that Owen Grady said, because it's true. She was just going on a killing rampage. She didn't eat anything. She was just killing shit. And, like, that was really good. Like, seeing all the brachiosauruses, not only was it sad, but it was also horrifying, where it's, like, just bodies. And it's, like, she's just leaving a trail of bodies. And, like, very scary. And, like, her chasing the kids and, like, this whole thing. Jurassic World did horror really well. Fallen Kingdom, to me, not so much. It was very much more comedic in a way, where it was just like, oh, every single time it's more dramatic than it should be, which is a thing in Jurassic World too, but like, again, it kind of works. Rebirth just it was good. It was solid. That's all I can say. It was solid. The horror was solid. It was just didn't scare me. Again, dinosaur movies in themselves don't really scare me. I'm not really scared of dinosaurs that much, because they're just animals, and I'm not really scared of animals in that way. But the fact that Rebirth made it feel more like the dinosaurs were just animals did help, because animals are scary. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm not saying, like, the animals aren't scary. Only an idiot says that. Animals are terrifying. They can tear you to pieces. They can fucking tear you to shreds. Even people's oh so precious wolves that are all, oh, they're so kind and gentle. They are kind and gentle. Unless you fuck with them in the wild, they're gonna tear you to pieces. Like, that's just all there is to it. There's no, like, animals are animals. They're not going to just, you're not gonna fucking, it just is what it is. And, like, it felt very much, it felt really good, where it was like, it felt like more animalistic things rather than a horror creature trying to, like, in Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom, they felt like an actual movie monster, where, like, and, like, the thing that I think I don't like about Fallen Kingdom was that was the angle they were going for. Like, if you check in the special features, like I always do, like a good boy, they actually say that the inspiration for a lot of the scenes with the Indoraptor, particularly in the bedroom and shit, was by, like, the old vampire movies, Nosferatu or the Bela Lugosi Dracula. Like, they specifically set him up as a movie monster rather than an animal, and, like, that's fine. Again, it worked with the Indominus Rex. It didn't work with the Indoraptor for me, and I don't know why. The only part that I found was really scary was the part where Maisie was under there and he reaches out to her. That was the only part that I found that was really scary, and that's only because the monster, the Indoraptor, is you can't see the rest of it. All you see is the arm. So it gives a sense of like, what is this creature? Whereas the rest of it, it's like it's just an animal, but it acts like a horror monster. Like, didn't really like that, I guess. I don't really know why, particularly why I like the Indominus Rex better, because the Indominus Rex, again, they're trying to establish it as a monster more than an animal, but I feel like the Indominus Rex was just done better, I guess. I don't know. But like, in Rebirth, the animals felt like animals, so the horror actually was really good. It was actually really decent in a way. The biggest thing was the most scariest part that the movie was trying to make you scared of was the D-Rex, and there was just no build up to it. So that's kind of why I'm on the fence with it, where I'm like, it was scary. Every other part except the fucking every other part except the fucking D-Rex part. The D-Rex part just wasn't scary. I didn't think it was scary. So that's kind of like if you were expecting to be scared by this movie's hybrid creature, I don't know what to tell you other than it didn't scare me. Maybe it will scare other people. Maybe it scared you in the theaters. I don't know. But it didn't scare me. But the horror was still decent, mostly just because it felt more real, like it was an animal documentary. Again, the fact that I got my heart was ramping up when the guy went over to touch the Titanosaurus, an herbivore. The fact that kind of scared me a little bit just shows how well the filmography was done and how much it felt like an actual animal. Because like, I've watched movies where it's like you're approaching a giraffe or a rhinoceros or an elephant, and I'm like, whew, maybe not, maybe not. Like, even horses sometimes. Like, I've been around horses, and well, there's a whole thing to me with horses. I don't particularly like horses. They're an animal, and I love animals, but like, I had an incident with a horse, and it kind of traumatized me a little bit. But like, even with horses, I'm like, you walk up to a horse and it's like it's a big animal. It's very intimidating. And it's like this animal can fucking just stomp you to death if it wanted to. So the whole thing of like approaching the Titanosaur and being that close to something that big made me actually kind of scared was really well done. That shows how well the filmography in it was done and how much it felt like you were approaching a real animal instead of a dinosaur or something like that, because that was never a thing in any of the other Jurassic Park movies to me. Like, the only other thing would be like the the Triceratops, where it was like the Triceratops being that huge and them being so close to it. She was sick, but you can like see Alan Grant, like he puts his hand on her horns and puts his hand all the way up her horns and everything, and like you can see the motherfuckers. You do not fuck with Triceratops, dude. But like, she was sick, so that was okay. But like, that was a part in Jurassic Park that made me feel and that was because they made a whole animatronic off of it. That was a real thing that they were like petting and putting their hands around, so it made it feel so much more real, which made it feel very much like if that thing got up and charged you, you'd be dead. Like, so like, I haven't felt that kind of fear of an herbivore since the first movie. So that was really good. If you have to take anything from this, that was a part that was really good. So there you go. That was the horror of Jurassic Park Rebirth. Not as scary as the trailers were trying to make it out to be, but it was scary in the way that they were very much animals. And animals are scary. Animals are scary. I'm not scared of animals in a way of horror, but I'm scared of animals in a way of rationality, right? It's a good way to explain it is irrational horror versus rational horror. Rational horror is like your house getting destroyed in an earthquake, or getting robbed, or getting trampled to death by a rhinoceros, right? That's rational horror. Irrational horror is being afraid of what's in the dark. Irrational horror is like, is there going to be a creature coming after me? Irrational horror is like, this creature is coming for me specifically and it wants to hurt me, and like, again, what's in the dark, like this fear of the unknown. That's irrational horror versus rational horror. Rational horror is much more real world shit. Irrational horror is what we get from horror movies in general, like your Voorhees or your what's his name, Freddy Krueger, right? Where it's like, dreams can't really kill you, but like somebody, Wes Craven or whoever invented the idea of Freddy Krueger, was like, but what if they could though? And like, so they created this thing. It's irrational to think that your dreams could kill you, but like, it works really good for a horror movie, right? So like, there is a difference, where it's like rational horror and irrational horror. Like, when I said I'm not afraid of animals, I said that because I live with animals. I do understand animals to a certain extent, but it is a rational horror in a way that you should be afraid of animals. Don't just be all like willy-nilly where it's like, I can tame these creatures. Animals don't cause humans harm. It's like, no, they do actually. Like, I think deer, you're just your normal red-tailed deer kill more people than, I don't know, they kill a lot of people every year. And yeah, that's because they're dumbasses, but like, still, for example, a rational fear would be hitting a deer going 90 or 80 miles an hour. Your car's going to get fucked up. It might be even totaled. And that's a good day. That's if nobody gets hurt or killed. Like, rational horror versus irrational horror. Rebirth was more of a rational horror thing where it was just like, yeah, that's scary, but only because the animals feel like actual animals. You shouldn't be in their nest. You shouldn't be fucking around with their nest. You're on a ship in water trying to capture a beast that is longer than your ship is. Like, that's a rational horror. And touching a dinosaur that is fucking a skyscraper size huge and you're right up there touching it, the fear of getting stomped on or squished is rational. Like, that's all good. Like, I think that the reason why the D-Rex part didn't work for me was because it was rational horror up until the point where it was irrational horror, because the irrational horror came from them trying to make the D-Rex a horror movie monster, whereas all the rest of the horror in the movie has been rational horror. Right? I think that's where I'm getting my wires mixed up, because it's like that's basically you going from the movie Beast, right? Where you're getting pursued by a man-eating beast, or the movie The Edge with Anthony Hopkins, right? Where it's like rational horror. You're getting chased by a man-killing bear, right? You're getting chased by this man-killing bear in the wild and everything, and you have to try and escape them. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're at a castle and you're faced off against Dracula and you gotta try and escape him. That's what Rebirth felt like, where like the whole time I'm like, these are real animals they're trying to get, and that's terrifying because these animals are trying to hurt them, and like they will try and eat you and kill you. And then all of a sudden the D-Rex comes in and it's like I'm being like, you want me to be scared of this thing that doesn't look like an animal. It's very weird, and it's very much like you're supposed to be scared of it because it's scary. Like, that's a whole thing, and it's like I'm not that scared of it. So that was the horror in Jurassic World Rebirth. It was rational horror up until it wasn't, and like that kind of, it's like Whiplash in a way. But the horror was done actually pretty decent. So there you go. The horror was one thing that Jurassic World Rebirth did right, was actually the horror part of it. So there you go.